We're living in a time where the smallness of some people's minds is only matched by the size of their platforms. Their outrage isn't driven by injustice, but by the existence of others. Others who dare to exist differently, to thrive outside their narrow definitions of the world. This isn't just an attack on people. It's an attack on the very foundation of human progress, empathy. Today, we're going to talk about what happens when empathy, the driving force behind the Enlightenment, civil rights, and human decency, becomes a target. We'll explore how these attacks erode the freedoms the Enlightenment fought for and why defending empathy is not just ethical, it's revolutionary. The Enlightenment was about more than science and reason. It was about connection, understanding that all humans share a common dignity. Empathy fueled the abolition of slavery, women's suffrage, and workers' rights. Without empathy, the Enlightenment would have been just another intellectual exercise for the elite. Empathy was the fire that let us see beyond class, race, and ability. It told us that no one should live in chains, no one should be voiceless, and no one should be excluded from the collective story of humanity. But here's the thing. Empathy is radical. It threatens power structures that depend on division and exploitation. And so they attack it over and over again. When you're raised to see the world as a zero-sum game, empathy looks like weakness. If you think power means taking instead of sharing, then empathy isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. But let's be clear. These attacks aren't about practicality. They're about control. They want you to believe that inclusion, whether it's a sign language interpreter, a wheelchair ramp, or a pride flag, is somehow a threat to your freedom. And that's bullshit. In reality, empathy expands freedom. It breaks down barriers. It tells us that making space for others doesn't diminish us. It enriches us. That terrifies those who've built their power by keeping us divided. Because once we start seeing each other as equals, their bullshit hierarchies crumble. These peoples, the ones whining about sign language interpreters, diversity, or pronouns, aren't victims. They're weaponizing their fragility. They're using their discomfort as a bludgeon to attack progress. Why? Because they've run out of real ideas. They've got nothing left but fear. Fear of change. Fear of irrelevance. Fear of a world where their small-mindedness doesn't matter anymore. And you know what's fucking ironic? These same people love to scream about free speech, but they lose their shit the moment someone else's voice enters the conversation. We can't let them hijack the narrative. The Enlightenment wasn't about clinging to the past. It was about tearing down the walls of ignorance and fear. It was about building a world where reason, compassion, and collective progress could thrive. Empathy isn't weakness. It's strength. It's what drives us to innovate, to connect, to create a better future. And every time we defend inclusion, whether it's through language access, civil rights, or environmental justice, we're continuing the work of the Enlightenment. The war on empathy is a war on humanity. If we let them win, we lose everything. The progress we've made, the freedoms we've fought for, the future we deserve. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just defend empathy. Live it. Fight for it. Build a world where no one is left behind, where the fire of enlightenment burns brighter than ever. Because if they fear empathy, it's because they know its power. And it's time we reminded them just how fucking powerful we are.